Alrighty then, good afternoon all you fantastic people. Silver Dragon here, coming at you with some more X4. Going to be basically a rather short little, I guess, update video per se, since unfortunately it has been like literally what, 3 weeks since I last did anything on X4, and more so even, I think 2 weeks since I last did anything on the channel. Mainly for the main reason that I am currently in the process of moving once again. So, even for another 2 weeks, there's going to be a limited amount of content that I'll be able to put out. I am hoping that tomorrow, after this is uploaded, that I will have at least an hour or two where we can do some more stuff because, as it turns out, we now do have an official release date for the Cradle of Humanity expansion, which is, March 16th. So, literally the 16th of next month, we will have our new expansion and all of the content that comes with it. And of course, I want to be ready to dive in on that when that time comes. So, that being said, we definitely want to be in a good position for that. So, I do need to get back on here and get working on some more stuff again. So, with that, there have been some new additions and changes since I last had the chance to hop on here. Mainly, there was a bug in the version that we used previously, or in the beta that we used previously, that we didn't kind of notice, which is that the gas levels were very, very, very low. That was due to a bug. So that has been fixed. They basically, during one of the updates, they basically filled up all of the station, like a one-time fill up of all stations' gas reserves to their maximum, just so that they could, get a kick into basically the economy would get a bit of a kick to keep it running again properly. While they basically then patched in the fix, which if we actually check, we should see that that actually worked here now. Let's take a quick look at that. So let's go ahead and zoom on over to Animus Zura here. Information. So if we see here now, hydrogen levels are still quite low, but hopefully they're actually going to pick up a lot more. Yeah, methane, which was also very low, is definitely, it seems to be going up a little bit faster now. So that is good. So yeah, hopefully those levels will stop being in like the low tens and start going back up over 100,000. But yeah, a lot of other changes have been made. Let me go back on here just so I can make sure that it's not going to run while I'm doing this. So one of the interesting features that got added in, which is a feature that, frankly speaking, I've been wanting for a long time, because it's such a massive pain in the ass that you're flying around in your ship, dogfighting either in a fleet battle or whatever. They focus you down and then you die, and that's it. Then you have to waste time loading to the main menu, then loading a new game or reloading a save, and you just waste a lot of time. Now they're added in the auto eject system or emergency eject system. So basically, when your ship blows up, you won't just die. It will actually eject you out in your spacesuit, so you have a chance to fly away and call another ship to come pick you up. So you are given the option then finally there that it's not just game over, which is quite nice. Let's see, there was a bunch of other interesting bits that did get added as well, if I could actually not be blind, which would be nice for once. They did add the possibility to abort terraforming projects. They also added information about projects' cost scaling, which is all things going into terraforming, which we honestly haven't touched terraforming for obvious reasons. I probably won't honestly touch terraforming until we get to the actual 4.0 not 4.0 Cradle of Humanity expansion. They added performance warning when using certain visual settings, information to transaction log entries when selling ships, which is quite nice. They added a check for when builders are required for station building or not, which is, that's not too bad. This is the one I was looking at, yes. Added a separate transaction log entries for upgrading and resupplying ships. which is quite nice. Other than that, there were a couple of other things that were improved. Mining ship behavior. Basically, there's also a big update coming to mining and resources in general, and they actually did put up a vote, or not even a vote, basically a survey about a potential change to resource distribution and supply uh, in the universe, where essentially the thing being discussed and pretty much voted on or polled on right now is, well, the system that they're basically adding right now for mining is that they're going to make mining more difficult. They're going to make it take longer so that you actually have to, you know, your ships need to be a little bit more active. More, the mining will also attract a lot of Koch ships, so you will also have to defend your mining ships a little bit more than you have in the previously. So a lot of work is being done now into making mining more interesting and making it riskier. They're also making it so, again, as I said, that it would be a lot more rarer in the sense that they're going to be changing how efficiency works for mining yields, how much is distributed around the area, and more so the main thing under discussion right now is essentially draining all of the yield in the main kind of like the main sector loop per se. So the main highway that goes around through the various main like prime systems per se are going to be essentially drained of most resources, and you're going to have to basically bring resources in from the outlying systems to compensate for that. My only thing is, I do hope that with this kind of change that they're adding in, and they also are making it so that there's a much greater priority for probes. So they're basically making it so that your miners will not mine unless they have a probe. Or at the very least, they might mine without the probe, but it's basically going to be something that will help them more efficiently mine. I believe is what they were going for with that. Yeah. Improved mining ship usage of resource probes is what they put on there for that. They also are improving balancing of workforce for profitable production and the efficiency bonus from to compensate for increased costs. Because now it's going to cost more to get those basic resources shipped in for your stations. So they're working on a lot of that. I also think they're boosting workforce production and like the different resources and drains for that, so you can actually get more workforce faster. Per se, is my hope and dream, and the general gist I got from it. Yeah, improve the output of stations producing workforce resources, which is an issue that they countered. Basically, in that things like food and medical supplies were not being produced enough to supply the universe. So they're boosting production of those materials so that you can actually properly supply them to your stations. So yeah, a lot of that's being dealt with. Yeah, improved miners looking for resources around probes. So yeah, that's going to be a major thing. Is if you want your miners to mine different resources, you're going to have to put a lot more probes out there, not just kind of drop one randomly in different spot in like a spot or two, just to get an idea of what's in the area. You'll actually have to be more active with your probes and checking like the actual range that they have and so on. And their skill level as well will have a much greater effect now on their ability to mine and their efficiency of mining. Likewise, they are tweaking the larger miners. I think it was more so towards gas miners, where that you basically not all of the mining drones were basically increasing the efficiency of the miner itself. Like they weren't sending out all of their drones per se to do the job. So that was something that was either improved or fixed. I believe that was something they fixed here, because there's a lot of bug fixes that they put through. I'm not going to get into those because there's quite a few of them, to be honest. But yeah, different crashes, Cox stations offering signal leak missions, and so on. Trade subscriptions not being offered when teleporting to a station where you receive a promotion. That's an interesting bug that somebody encountered. Terraforming not completing successfully, and so on. So yeah, So those are the main things that are going to be looked at and coming to, eventually. I do hope personally, and I'm actually going to probably see if I can push that forward as a suggestion, in that if resource scarcity is going to be a thing, we need to have a better distribution of resources in the universe, per se. Because if only like one or two different sections in the universe have methane or helium, that's going to really kill off the economy a little bit, and you're going to have a couple of miners draining out those nodes like really quickly. So they definitely need, for the systems that have resources, they need to expand upon the resources that are there. Just scatter them out more if they need to be, but either way, add more of them or more spots to get it. Like for example, again, Eonimus Zura. If I look at it, if I scroll on over here, this is like the only place that I'm going to find a lot of these resources. Helium, hydrogen, ice, and methane. Hydrogen we have here. Methane we do have here. But ice and helium, I think it is. Whoops. Yes, ice and helium. There's like none here. None there. None here. Absolutely no resources here. None here. None here. Yeah, finally, way over here, you get a little bit of ice, helium, and the rest. And same thing over here for the other Xenon space. We'll probably work on taking over this one actually next. Now that we've basically taken over Xenon Sector 9, we only really have one more location to deal with, and then we will, see about the rest. The interesting thing is, for the split, literally all of their resources are like in this one little area. No other bit of their space seems to have any actual resources. Let's look at the Talati ones here and the one that they took over. Zyarth's domain. Same thing could be said for the Patriarch. They don't have any resources. Like, look at all this. It's just sunlight. Just sunlight. Finally, we got a little bit of ice there. But yeah, even the Patriarch forces don't have any resources. Finally, when you go into literal Xenon territory again, you start to encounter more resources again. There's nothing. Also, I'm not finding really any areas where the sunlight is more than 100%, or even less than 100%, which is not the greatest. Yeah, literally, Family Zin is like the core sector, it seems, of the Paranid, or the Paranid, the split, and it's not even treated like that either. Like, we actually have Xenon in the area here, taking over the place, even a Xenon Q. Like, with the amount of resources here, this should be the core sector of the Patriarch forces, and they are not properly defending it as such. Likewise, they haven't pushed out the Talati that took over their sector, so I'm kind of like, wait, what? In that sense. So as you can see, like, there's no resources there, a little bit of hydrogen there. Wretched Skies has nothing. Heretic's End has ore. That has, that has a few things. These ones have, again, practically nothing. So it's just that there's not a really great distribution for a lot of resources. There's only like certain sections of the universe who have like a lot of like hydrogen, like this stuff right here, basically hydrogen, helium, and methane. It's just like certain specific ones, somewhat scattered around, have the entire concentration of that. Same thing over here. There's a little bit scattered around. Like these three sectors here basically form the core of what the hell, the Argon for that. Or in this case being the Antagon Republic. And so on. So it's like each race has its one kind of core area that has access to a lot of resources. This one right here, same thing. But yeah. So it's not that they don't exist, but still. But yeah, either way, we'll have to see what we do for that. But yes, resource probes are going to be much, much, much more important here soon. Anyway, I digress. And let's take a quick, while I'm at it, let's take a quick look at just the wharf here anyway, logistics overview, just to see if we have any kind of increase that I can see when it comes to workforce. Yeah, right now we are still only getting a plus 20 growth base change to our workforce. I don't see any. Probably if I go into the sector view for that, I will see that the workforce generation bonus there sucks, as it always does. Again, I wish there was more I could do to change that. Hopefully there will be soon. Yeah, 0% or plus 0% workforce availability bonus. And that's the same with all of these sectors. Path to profit, same thing. Black hole sun. Yeah, it's like literally the only place you start to get a massive bonus to workforce is the core sectors. And not even all the core sectors. So they definitely need to start spreading this workforce availability bonus out a bit more to the outlying sectors. Like for example, from this sector right here, there's a plus 500 workforce availability bonus. That should transition over to the next sector here being, say, plus 250. Like for each gate, cut it in half or something. And then over here, it'd be a plus 150. And then anything beyond that would be even worse. You know? Because it's like, we have highway networks, we have cabs, we have all this stuff that could transport people. Hell, I could load people up on barges, giant ass barges, and transport them over to different locations. So it's not like there's not options, but it's like different sectors, especially if you like take over a sector from like the Xenon, a hostile race, then you should get some kind of a bonus towards that to kind of bring people in. But right now, that's not going to happen. So there's definitely a lot of features that they still need to enhance upon, and I do hope they do that. And we'll have to see what other shiny things that the new expansion brings as well. Regardless, though, I think I'm going to call that there. So again, I will hopefully be on for a much longer time tomorrow, where I'll be able to continue from here, and we can continue basically prepping for the new expansion. Getting this, basically getting the Xenon Sector 9 cleaned out, getting this whole area like locked down for our use. Get all of our stations up and running. Get a couple more like traders out there trading, doing their thing, and just getting us in a good position with some funds in the bank to the point where when we do transition over and start doing the Terran storyline, then we will actually be able to, dive in on it with enough money to basically complete the whole thing. And depending, I might even just finally complete the split one just because we have the money. We'll see what happens. Regardless, though, thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you all soon. And especially so after I finish moving. So, again, for that little bit, end of the month, I should be fully moved in. Should have the internet and everything ready to go. I hope. And then we should be pretty much back to normal for that. There'll still be some, some days where I won't be able to do much just because I'll be too busy cleaning and unpacking and all that crap, or cooking. But yeah, I should be somewhat back to a more normal schedule at that point. Regardless, again, thank you for watching. Have a great one. See you all next time. And soon.